Hi everyone, welcome to Ethernal Realms and welcome to the month ahead astrology reading. Make sure you check your sun, moon, and rising signs for a comprehensive view of the month. Additionally, I would recommend watching the tarot reading of the month ahead to get a different perspective. While you will know the astrology in advance through this session, I will also send you a reminder when the astrological events are near. All you have to do is subscribe, hit the bell, and you will be notified as the events occur through my community page. I occasionally post behind the scenes, meditation guidance, quizzes, and polls, which you can check out for yourself. And it goes without saying that you will be notified when new videos are out, such as other zodiac readings and pick a card tarot readings as well. If you prefer to cut down the guesswork about your month ahead, you can always connect with me via Etsy to get a personalized week-by-week month ahead tarot reading paired with the general astrology. Enough about me, let's talk about you. So let's talk a little bit about the overview of the month first. We have two full moons this month. One on the 1st of August is a full moon in Aquarius, and on the 31st we have a full moon in Pisces. On the 16th, we have a new moon in Leo, so lots of lunar events occurring this month compared to the previous ones. Other interesting things is that Mercury is going to go retrograde in one of its home signs, Virgo, and the shadow period for that is going to start on the 3rd of August, and the retrograde itself occurs on the 23rd of August. The zodiac sign moves from Leo season to Virgo season, also on the 23rd, and Mars is changing signs from Virgo to Libra on the 27th. Apart from that, we have Uranus in Taurus going retrograde as well. And keep in mind, Venus is still retrograde at this time, and so is Neptune, even Saturn. So we have lots of planets going retrograde. Pluto, Saturn, Neptune, and Uranus, Venus as well. Okay, so lots of retros. Okay, let's get into it and see what this means. So on the 1st of August, we have a full moon in the sign of Aquarius. The moon is in Aquarius and the sun is in Leo, which brings into focus your 12th house of spirituality, meditation, isolation, retreat, release, surrender, sleep, dream, imagination, and intuition, which is Leo house. And Aquarius, where the moon is, talks about your daily life routines, your habits, pets, and your environment, employees, if you have any, or your workspace, what you are recognized as within your workspace. Okay, so this is a full moon time, so it talks about completion, release, or pivot. If there is an off balance, something is not working out or something not adding up, for example, you're working too hard but you're not resting enough, or you're resting a lot and you're missing out on work, or your daily routines and habits are kind of haywire, this is a very nice time to kind of bring that into a balanced state. The same day, we have a trine aspect happening between Mars in your sign of Virgo with Jupiter in Taurus, which is in your 9th house. So this talks about personal expansion and growth. This is also positive resolutions with regards to, legal disputes or battles which are ongoing, or about visas and foreign travel, foreign culture, etc. So your belief systems can be opening up in the sense that you're feeling more optimistic about the world and your place in it, the way you're moving and acting, and because Mars is involved, wherever you're directing your efforts, it feels meaningful and purposeful. The next day, we have Mercury in your zodiac, Virgo, right opposite Saturn in Pisces, and Saturn is retrograde at this time. So this can be talking about restructuring or redefining what relationships mean to you. And if you're already in a romantic relationship or friendships, this is all about one-to-one connections, by the way. Any of these relationships, you might be redefining what that means to you, what the status is, what that positioning is, and what do you think you contribute within that connection, and vice versa. If there has been a little bit of a distance and restriction, maybe less time with your partner or whatever, this is a nice time to kind of talk about or rethink, how can we manage this, or how can we sort this out? For newer connections, this can be you thinking about what can be done here. And because Saturn is retrograde, a little bit of that restriction is off, that generally accompanies a direct Saturn. And this gives you a little bit more freedom in seeking out and kind of seeing what works for you and what does not. Does not mean that who you're going to find here is it. maybe not. It depends on your birth chart and all the other astrological things that are going on. But alone with this aspect, it's not that likely, but you're going to get a lot of clarity of what exactly you're looking for. On the 3rd, Mercury enters shadow zone, and it is going to go retrograde on the 23rd. So between the 3rd and 23rd, note what happens, what thoughts arise, and what personal ventures that you are embarking on or you're thinking about embarking on. Because during retrograde, that is going to be revised or revisited in some way. Does not mean that you're going to go through an entire overhaul, but it does mean that, there might be some modifications and changes, so maybe no hard promises. And because Mercury is in your zodiac and it's a ruler of your zodiac, it can indicate that the way that you see yourself or the way you present and communicate, that can be shifting and changing. Okay, on the 7th, we have a square aspect between the Sun in Leo, which is your 12th house, with Jupiter in Taurus, which is your 9th house. So this talks about how you're expanding yourself in the world based on what you believe you can achieve and what you believe you are. There can be some soul searching again that's going on during Leo season, and whenever there's, right after this is your season, right? So the season that comes right before yours, that's an important phase because we understand a lot about what needs to let go. This is a time when every zodiac, whenever they're in this situation, they go through this phase of, I don't want this, or I don't need this, something is dissatisfying, or it's just not adding up, something like that, okay? Missing pieces and not getting enough of something and putting in a lot of work, feeling a little bit tired. Things like that can come up. Now, because there is a square aspect, this gives you an opportunity for release, and through meditation or prayers or whatever it is you practice in order to open up your mind and expand your horizons, maybe talking with people from different backgrounds, different spaces to kind of refresh your environment, that can also be quite helpful. On the 9th, we have a square aspect again in the same positions, in the same houses, but the planets are different. Venus is in Leo and it's retrograde, and Uranus is in Taurus. So there can be some unexpected changes or developments that are taking place in your, again, belief systems, philosophical worldview, your visas, other documentations and legal procedures, etc. That can lead to you feeling, okay, so this is something I value and this is something I'm really craving for in my life. This is more personal breakthroughs because, again, 12th house is a little bit internal, and there can be let's say Venus retrograde in this house can talk about how you connect with spirituality, and it can even be that certain belief systems or religions are just not making sense to you anymore, or you're not finding it purposeful anymore and you want to make this change, but you might not know exactly how. So this square can help you understand in that regard. It's a little bit esoteric, yes, but it's kind of in those houses for you at this time. Okay, on the same day, we have Pluto retrograde in the sign of Capricorn, which is your 5th house, a fellow earth sign, and that is squaring with the North Node in Aries, which is your 8th house. So this can be talking about romance and vulnerability. Okay, where is there a holding back type of situation? Where is it not working out in terms of dating and romance? This can also talk about finding ways that you can unlock yourself in a way to open up more to others, to be more trusting, or to be able to better identify who to trust and who to not, all of that. Also, you have a better indicator of how much is your power and how much can you control versus how much needs to be released and let go. Okay, now in terms of if you have children or inner child, because the 5th house talks about that as well, children, inner child, creativity, self-expression, right? So the way that you are entertaining yourself and the way you're connecting with your children, that as well can be shifting and changing, and they might be going through some transformations in their life, or it is you transforming your ideology of what parenthood is or what childhood signifies. The next day, we have a favorable aspect between Mercury and Virgo with Jupiter in Taurus, and Mercury is in your zodiac and Taurus is your 9th house and Jupiter is over there. So once again, it talks about personal development and forward growth and promise for much more, let's say, well thought out plans, and that lead to more growth in the future for you, not only right now, but down the line as well. On the 13th, we have a conjunction between the Sun and Venus is retrograde at this time, and this is all happening in the sign of Leo, which is in your 12th house. So this can be about feeling well rested, and you might be looking at how you can love yourself more, or how you can care for yourself on that particular day. It can also be bringing into focus how you sacrifice yourself, because that's also a part of the Virgo Pisces opposition, that particular line. For the sake of service, where is it that you lose yourself? If that is the case, that can come up to the surface around here, and by knowing that, you can then know how to exercise more self-love. It can also talk about working on improving your bedroom in some way, improving your sleep cycle, etc., in order to improve your efficiency throughout the day and just feel good in your body and your environment and all of that. On the 16th, we have a new moon in Leo, and this again falls in your 12th house. And this is talking about a new beginning, a new phase of a rest and sleep cycle. So the changes and improvements that you're making, you're likely to see some effects on the 16th. This also indicates your intuition is heightened, or there can be some epiphanies of who you are, what your purpose is, what brings you joy and happiness. And in some cases, this can also be talking about understanding your soul, your higher self, deeper self, because it's a very spiritual house. Now, there is a bit of a square with Uranus at this time, so this can be sudden breakthroughs or sudden changes within your belief system or your understanding of the world. And it depends on how much you're resisting new ideologies, whether or not you're going to enjoy it, this particular square or not. But apart from the square, there's lots of healing that's coming in and expansion that comes in. There is a loose trine with North Node with the new moon, as well as a conjunction with Venus, which is quite close by, and another trine with Chiron. So lots of healing coming through here. The same day, we have another trine, which is Mars in Virgo with Uranus in Taurus. And Mars is in your sign, Uranus is in the 9th house. Personal growth, development, purposeful movement ahead. And if you're looking for foreign travel, this can be that, you're suddenly deciding that, okay, you need a vacation, you're going to just go for it. On the 21st, we have Leo. The sun is in Leo, and that is trining with the North Node in Aries. This is a fire sign trine, so this is quite inspiring and action-oriented, very creative and fiery, energetic as well. Now, that's falling in your 12th house and your 8th house. So this is quite private houses. It's internal and probably is not going to show up in the world in any way, but it is quite important and beneficial for you. So this can be, increasing in your passion with your loved ones, connecting more deeply with the people you wish to connect with, kind of explaining or expressing your soul in some way. Lots of deep artistic creations can occur around this time as well. And conception of children as well is likely. What else? Yeah, some more understanding of yourself, basically, which can feel quite liberating and as though you're growing quite profoundly. The next day, on the 22nd, we have a square between Venus in Leo with Jupiter in Taurus. Again, brings into focus that 12th house and the 9th house. So if you're like teaching or mentoring, or you're studying in a higher education, it can be that you have lots of stuff to do and you don't have that much time to rest around this time. So maybe manage before this if you can. So that you can lighten the effect of this. Now, Venus is retrograde at this time, so there can be a tendency to, overpromise, underdeliver, or to take on a lot more than you imagine it would take. So you think that something is going to take 2 hours to complete, but then you realize along the way that it probably is going to take double the time, and you didn't account for that. So make sure you do that. But apart from that, it's still a beneficial, planets. Venus is benefic and so is Jupiter. So ultimately it is still going to make you feel good. But it's kind of situation dependent. Okay. Same day, we have an opposition between Mars in your sign with Neptune in Pisces, and Neptune is retrograde. So This is about having some realistic conversations or realistic plans about where is this connection going? What do I want from connections? What does love and relationship mean for me? What is my duty and obligation to connections that I share already? And all of that. Because Neptune is retrograde, it's going to be a little bit more realistic rather than idealistic and imaginative. And because Mars is in your sign, you're willing to be, taking action. You're more proactive around this time, and you're quite loyal and dedicated to whichever connections you share anyway. So it seems to be lining up. But oppositions are a time of moderation, so it's not about doing exactly what you want to do only and neglecting the needs of others, and neither is it vice versa. It's all about finding that moderation and the middle ground. Next day, we have two important things happening. The zodiac season is shifting from Leo season to Virgo season. So the sun is moving into Virgo. This is a time when you're going to feel replenished and rejuvenated. Your sense of identity is going to come up, and there is basically a new chapter that's coming in for you. The same day, we have Mercury in Virgo going retrograde. So the way that you see and perceive yourself, that is about to go through some shifts and changes. Now, you're likely to feel a little bit less sharp because Mercury is retrograde, but this is where your intuition is going to be much sharper. So taking some time to, rest and relax, recuperate, take care of your health routines, habits, diet, also your lifestyle. There can be some changes in how you organize things. Perhaps a way of organization and productivity has been working for you for a decade, but now, it might be time to shuffle that up and see something else that works. And around this time, avoid making big commitments and big promises like signing something, because it's likely that you're going to have to go back to it and maybe rearrange the terms and conditions, or you're not exactly clear about what you're promising. The fine print might be missing or things like that. It's just a blurry time when Mercury is retro. So if you can avoid signing any things or like making huge commitments here. And even like in terms of personal changes, like changing up your hair a lot or the way that you communicate fully or something like that, maybe refrain from making some permanent changes, okay? But it is a very, very nice time to reevaluate your needs, wishes, priorities, you in general, the way that you're seeing the world as well. So all in all, it can be fulfilling, but it's likely to be a little bit low-key. On the 25th, we have a beneficial aspect going on, a trine between Mars in your zodiac with Pluto in Capricorn, which is a retrograde in your 5th house. So this can talk about your dating life or creative life, self-expression and children, going through some transformations internally, and you're the one creating these changes. It's an earth sign trine, so it talks about, slow and steady movements that are going to win the race. It's also about stability and security, so the changes that do occur around this time, or the breakthroughs that are occurring around this time, are likely to be long lasting, and you can see external validation for these things. On the 27th, we have an opposition between the sun in your zodiac with Saturn in Pisces in the opposite sign. So once again, thinking about your priorities and needs within relationships and what you give, what you have to offer, and what you are desiring to receive from the other side. What is that opposites attract type of dynamic for you? In what way are you looking for an opposite, for example? This can also mean that if you already have a relationship, you're again re-evaluating what you bring to the table and what does the other person bring to the table. How can you establish certain healthy boundaries, or if there are too many boundaries, how can you remove some of them so you can improve your intimacy? The same day we have Mars in Libra, so Mars moves away from your zodiac, and the activity and the busyness moves away from you and into your financial sector, your relationship with finances, or what else? Your relationship with finances, priorities, the values that you have. Perhaps you no longer resonate with certain values you've held very dearly for some time. And now it's a time that, okay, I gotta figure out different ways, different modalities in order to, make sure that my finances are increasing, I'm always safe and secure, and that the people I care about are supported and nurtured. Now, by the way, whenever I mention the 7th house and I mention the romantic situation, it's not strictly romantic. It's about your one-to-one one connections. It can be business partnerships where you decide that, okay, I'm doing a lot of work, you got to take more responsibility, let's establish some boundaries over here. Or it can be that you have been doing a lot, thank you so much for that, but I will take the reins now. Okay, so it applies for all kinds of one-to-one connections. Back to Mars in Libra. Mars generally rules the opposite sign, which is Aries, and also Scorpio, but it is definitely not at home when in Libra. So it can be that you're spending on beauty items, things that you find aesthetic, or you might be finding it difficult to decide where exactly your investments should lie, whether these investments are financial in nature or energetic. It might be difficult to be able to decide a clear direction because there's many sides to the story when it comes to Libra, and Mars gets a little bit frustrated because it does not like to wait for things to happen, but at the same time you're likely to be surprised because Mars is all about that taking action and willpower, and that can be a very nice blend in this feminine house of trying to find peace and harmony, all of that. So having a strong will to create peace in your environment or create diplomacy within relationships, or finding the middle ground and seeing what options are out there for you. These things are very nicely expressed if you put focus in that way. Okay, on the 29th, we have Uranus in Taurus going retrograde, and this falls in your 9th house. So there are less likely surprises coming in or new information or new breakthroughs coming in at this time. Instead, it's a time of, accepting, embracing, and understanding what has already been created in the past couple months and even back in the years, because retrograde phases are more about creating internal changes by looking at what has already occurred. If you want external changes to happen, it's again likely going to occur when Uranus goes direct again. Or you're likely to create, more small range changes rather than, complete sweeps within your life. It's not going to be huge epiphanies of, oh my goodness, this is what I should do in life, but rather, okay, so I know I should do this in life. How can I make certain small changes to make it so? How can I realize that? Okay. On the 31st, we have another full moon. This is in Pisces. So the moon is in your opposite sign of relationships, one-to-one connections, and the sun is in your zodiac. Now, this one, let's look at the chart for a moment. Now, this one is at a loose trine with Jupiter. Okay, and this moon is going to be conjoining Saturn. So this is a little bit isolating. So you might feel emotionally a little bit distant from your partner, or this can be that you have other priorities and you're doing just other things and there's a lot of busyness going on. So you might not connect on a very deeply emotional level, but you can absolutely collaborate with one another by like, okay, if you're busy, you do your work, try to be as efficient or like get it done whenever you can. Meanwhile, I'm going to do the cooking at this time, or vice versa. And at like 6 o'clock in the evening, we are able to meet together and we'll have a nice time. Okay, so there is a little bit of a discussion and collaboration and kind of working with each other in order to make a meeting happen. So that's what I have for you. Thank you for being here. I really hope you enjoyed and that the messages help you out throughout the month. Stay tuned for the tarot reading as well. I will be uploading them soon. Make sure you subscribe and hit the bell so you're notified whenever that's up. And if you enjoyed the reading, please do like and comment your thoughts if you have any. It will be really lovely to hear back from you and it really helps the channel grow as well. I will see you some other time. Until then, take care. Bye.